are stressed out during your event setup? Well, I have 5 tips to help you through your event setup process. Tip 1. It's so important that you prepare. The event setup starts way before you even get to the venue or wherever the event is happening. Make sure you are prepping everything that you need, such as your napkins. Make sure you ironing and folding. Your linen, make sure it's pressed and hung and ready to go. And make sure you are demoing what you're going to do in terms of your centerpieces and your linen. You know which, colored napkins is going to go with the tablecloths, and you know which centerpieces is going to go on those tablecloths. It's best to go ahead and take a picture of that so that you can hand those pictures down to your team during setup. Tip 2. Time management is so important. You want to make sure that you have enough time. Not having enough time can be detrimental to your setup, and it can cause a lot of stress. If your client is going for a very detailed setup, it's probably going to take you close to 3 hours to set up. So you need to convey that to your client, and you need to work with the venue to make sure you're getting that time. And for some reason, if you can't get that time, then you need to talk to the client and work out something. Maybe the client has to pay a little extra because you have to bring on more staff to be able to complete it in a timely manner. If you're going with a setup that has less guests and is not as detailed, 2 hours might just work for you. Tip 3, make sure you plan. It is so important that you plan. Write a list of everything that you're gonna need for your setup and make sure you have it. The worst thing that you could do is get to the setup and have to run back to your storage or your office because you lost something. This is going to cost you money, and it's going to cost you time, and it's definitely going to bring on stress, not just for you, but your team as well. So you want to plan, and then also you want to make sure that you are creating an environment that's easy for your team to work. Just like I said before, make sure you are saving those pictures that you're taking of your table setup with the linen and the centerpieces, and giving those to your team prior to the setup so that they're not constantly asking you questions. They're able to look at the pictures and go ahead and help you set up the tables. Tip 4, delegate tasks. You want to delegate tasks to your team prior to getting to the venue or wherever the event is going to be. You should have one person on napkins and charger plates, have one person on backdrops, have another person putting down the linen, and another person putting down centerpieces. Depending on how large your team is or how large the event is, that's how you're going to delegate the duties. But you want to make sure you're doing that, because it can be stressful setting up an event, but it's going to go a lot smooth if everyone on your team knows exactly what they're doing and they can just get the job done. Tip 5, this is my final tip. You want to eliminate people. And what I mean by that, when you're setting up, that's your room. That's your setup until an hour before the event. You want to make sure that there is not a ton of people in the space while you're setting up. And what I mean by a ton of people, I mean like the client's family or friends. You don't need them to set up your event. You know what you're supposed to do. The client trusts you. You want to make sure that you're not being distracted, because that can cause a lot more stress and it can distract you from what you're trying to do. You want to also make sure no one is sitting at your tables during setup. Guests should not be sitting at the tables until the event starts. Reason being is that you don't want anything to be redundant. As an event planner or decorator, time is not on our side. And so having someone sitting at a table and leaving their phone or their soda bottle or whatever they wallet, so whatever, at the table, getting up, leaving, coming back, messing up the linen, messing up the charger plates. Now you have to go back, fix that stuff. At the end, you're trying to take pictures, and now you have their soda bottle or their keys or whatever in the pictures. You just don't want to do that. Eliminate all of that by just making sure you set rules, you set guidelines, and put them in your contract so that it's communicated between you and your client on what it takes to bring the client's vision to life. I hope those tips work for you guys. Once again, I am Shaneia Caldwell, and I am the creative director of My Party Queen, and those were my 5 tips to helping your event setup run smooth.